cover that. Yep, go.
Okay, you're live.
Oh, hey!
We're live.
Live is fun.
Especially when you have technical difficulties.
Always, to be able to keep your blood pressure down when you're having technical difficulties is a trick.
Deep breathing.
So, who all is on this call right now? I guess it's me and you. Yeah, Chelsea?
So Cody, I'm here. Is Cody gone?
Yeah, I think he's having the most technical difficulties. So we're going to get started though, because we promised to do this Facebook Live now. So I'm going to introduce you. This is Chelsea Henderson, one of our amazing trainers at HomeFit. She trains here in Birmingham, but she can also train you virtually wherever you are. So
yes,
definitely
at the beach, on vacation, wherever.
Yep. So we're going to have a little talk here today. You know what the subjects were, right?
Lifelong fitness.
Lifelong fitness. Cool. I'm going to check some notes. So, by the way, I'm Linda Ratliff, and I'm also a trainer and the COO at HomeFit Consulting. I also work here in Birmingham, but can train virtually. I also do some health coaching. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out too. So we're going to dive into some questions with Chelsea. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right. So tell me, what are some essentials to have in one's exercise and nutrition program to ensure they will continue staying in good health as they grow older?
Yes, for sure. So I want to start off by saying, whatever age you are, it doesn't matter if you're 30 or if you're 80, you can still benefit from exercise and a good nutrition program. Like, it's never too late in life to receive the benefits. Your human body does the same thing no matter what age you are. Of course, it just doesn't work as efficiently. So some essentials to have in an exercise program starting off, definitely you want a resistance train. So a big myth is that as you get older, it's like, oh, I can't weightlift because I'm going to get injured. And that's definitely not true. You actually can make yourself stronger, make your bones stronger, and make daily activities a lot easier by resistance training. So as Linda knows, this is something we definitely support at HomeFit, especially because we work with a lot of older age groups, especially just 50 and over in general. So resistance training, even if it's just like twice a week, hit multiple muscle groups, make sure you don't neglect anything. You'll definitely receive a lot of benefits from that. And also,
science on that one is that it actually makes your bones denser, stronger.
Exactly.
Which is really important in older women as they start to face osteopenia, osteoporosis.
Yes.
More brittle as we age. So, sorry,
you'll be a lot less likely to develop those if you do resistance train. So yes, good point on that one, Linda. And now another thing too is it's good to do cardio as well. Now, you don't have to drill that in the ground as much as a lot of people think you do. So, it's good for cardiovascular health, and good too just for endurance in general, which a lot of us lose as we grow older. So there's a lot of benefits to having cardio resistance training. And then lastly, some sort of flexibility and mobility programming. So whether you do static stretching post-workout, maybe do some yoga or Pilates, something like that. Just something to get a good stretch in, make sure your mobility maintains itself, because the more flexible and mobile you are, you're less likely to get injured and pull something. So, and as you get older, you're not going to recover as well from those types of injuries. So
I can attest it takes a little longer the older you get.
Yeah, like, don't let Linda fool you. She's been working out a long time, so she might look like it, her face might fool you, but yeah, she knows a good bit about exercise, so she could tell you a lot about that too. A lot more than me, actually.
I know, she's just a baby.
That's right.
A very intelligent and well-informed baby, but a baby.
Thanks to college. But
Yay!
anyway, so those are definitely some essentials though when it comes to exercise. So resistance training, cardiovascular, and some sort of static stretching, mobility, yoga type of program is good to add in to your exercise program as well. Now, when it comes to nutrition, definitely, as all of us trainers preach, protein is very important, especially as you grow older. So I was talking a little bit about how, if you get injured, you don't recover quite as well. So if you have enough protein in your diet and fuel yourself appropriately, you're going to recover that much better, even as you grow older. So you still have the potential to benefit from those types of things. So, whole food sources, chicken, beef, even a protein powder is good. Make sure it's low in sugar. Just something that you can get your protein amount that you need in the day, which usually is about 0.8 per gram per pound of body weight. I'm sorry. That's usually a sufficient amount, maybe even a little less than that as you grow older. So definitely incorporate the protein in your diet and healthy carbohydrates as well for energy. So whole grain food sources, sprouted grain bread is really good. You avoid the flour and a lot of additives with those types of sources. Sweet potatoes, things like that. Vegetables are good too. Some are higher in carbs than others. Obviously, you don't get much from greens, but you get a lot of nutrition and vitamins from those too, which is also
Now, a lot of
important.
people don't think about your fruits and your vegetables being your carbs. They're like, oh, I'm a
No.
bread, no one. But if you're taking in fruits and vegetables, you're getting carbs in, which you need.
Exactly. Exactly. And too, the fiber content in those carbohydrate sources, it doesn't affect your blood sugar quite as bad, which, you definitely do need to monitor that more as you grow older too. So that's
Right.
another plus to those types of sources.
Yep. Right.
And lastly, don't forget your fat sources too. So, trainers, we're big advocates of healthy fats in forms of like salmon and omega-3 supplement, something like that. It's great to lubricate your joints, which, loses a lot of cushion as you grow older. And a lot of times people get to the point, they're almost like bone on bone. So that's where these healthy fats come in, really help to lubricate your joints and make you less likely to miss that workout because your knees are killing you. So
And
don't forget your healthy fats.
people, honestly, like I didn't used to think about that as much when I was younger, but that's the time you want to start doing it because as you get older, it gets worse. If you start taking care of them now, you're going to have a lot longer period of time where that doesn't happen. Eventually, our bodies
Yes,
aren't meant to live forever, so that does break
right.
down. But you can definitely prolong it if you start younger, really eating healthy. So,
Exactly. Start as soon as possible. Start
exactly.
tomorrow or now, right
Yes,
now.
right now. I understand. But also, like you
But
said, you can do it later too. It's still going to help you. The benefits are still there no matter how
yes,
old you are. So,
exactly. Of
yeah.
course, the sooner you start, you're going to be a little ahead of someone that does start later, but that doesn't matter because the sooner you start, the better you're going to be, the better life you're going to have, less joint issues, just a lot of less issues in general if you just start right now. So,
Thank you for that. All right. Ready for your second question?
yes.
Does exercise and nutrition play that large of a role in common age-related diseases? Or is it all genetic, just meant to happen?
Awesome question. So, as many of you know, and you might say it a lot yourself, you might be like, oh, like, my family has diabetes, like everyone has diabetes. It's so genetic, like I'm doomed. There's nothing I can do. I might as well not even try. That's not true at all. First of all, those diseases, they do have a genetic component. However, a lot of your environment contributes to it more so than just the genetic component itself. So, yes, exercise plays a big role. So, we'll use diabetes for example. So, when you resistance train over time, you do build muscle mass. So, the more muscle mass you have, you're going to use carbohydrates a lot better than someone with less muscle mass because you are burning through those carbs. So you're going to be less likely to have issues with blood sugar like someone with diabetes. And even if you do have diabetes, still building some muscle mass is going to help you manage it that much better. So yes, it's genetic, and you may be more susceptible than other people to developing certain things like that, but nutrition and exercise are still going to tremendously help you, and especially help it not progress to a rate that you may not be able to eventually exercise due to the disease. So definitely don't forget those benefits because they are there for you, for sure.
Yeah, genetics definitely plays a role, but you play a role in what you eat and what you do every day. Absolutely. So.
Yes. So it's, it sucks to be more likely to get something, but everyone's a little more susceptible to getting certain things, but all you can do is attack it now, just get to it now and don't worry about it later. So when it's too late, so attack it as soon as you can.
What are some keys to preventing injuries that are commonly seen in elderly age groups, like 65 plus?
Sure. So definitely, as I kind of touched on earlier, it's very important in your exercise program, especially as you grow older, to include some sort of mobility, some sort of stretching, something to help your muscles recover that much better during your resistance training. So definitely incorporate some type of mobility work. I almost would recommend this even more than resistance training itself as you grow older, because it's just that much harder to maintain those aspects of your body. So, as you grow older, you're going to wake up in the morning sometimes and be like, oh man, like my back, like you just wake up a lot stiffer and gain a lot more stiffness easier. As we kind of touched on, those joints just aren't there like they used to be. So you're going to more likely have those aches and pains. So keep those stretching components in your program. So the more flexible you are, the more mobile you are, you're more likely to not get injured because your body's used to going in those ranges of motion, opposed to if you're like really stiff all the time.
So when you talk about mobility, are you talking
Mhm.
just about stretching, or are you talking about certain types of exercises? Explain it to the audience.
Just like, yoga, Pilates, things like that. Anything that is going to work on, such as, like, I'm trying to think of an example people would understand. So, like a dynamic warm up, for example, that'd be something to help you work on mobility and to help you warm up as well. Just something working on a range of motion of an exercise. So, like,
Okay,
maybe.
so explain again, like a dynamic warm up,
Mhm.
because some people don't know the difference between dynamic, static.
So a dynamic warm up, opposed to like a static stretch where you're holding the position, this is something where you're maintaining a movement. So think of a leg swing like to the side. Yeah, like Linda's doing there. Something where you're maintaining that movement, trying to get your nervous system fired up for the movement. So that's a way to move into working on mobility and things like that. It's firing your nervous system. You're working on that range of motion there. So that's something to add into.
Um, what about like balance exercises for seniors? Is there something
Yes.
there?
Yes, stability is super, super important. So that's another way to help you avoid getting injured, especially. You hear a lot of older individuals, sorry for the beeping sound. Let me move in here. So you hear of a lot of older individuals, they might have a fall, like a really bad fall, and end up breaking a hip or something like that because they lose balance in their body and they can't maintain that. Like they lose equilibrium. So trying to work on stability exercises. So I know a lot of people probably know like what a Bosu ball is.
Mm-hmm.
So you could stand on that on one leg, try to balance, work on stability like that. A lot of yoga positions work on stability and mobility and balancing in general. So there's a lot of ways you could approach that, but just an easy way.
one.
What was that? I'm sorry.
I've seen you do some of the one-sided, or the words are not coming to me, where you do just work on one side of your body at a time.
Yes.
Which is
Unilateral training.
collateral,
Yes.
thank you. Which does really well for balance too.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, actually. Yeah. Unilateral training. Like Linda's saying, sometimes I do like single leg deadlifts or split squats, something to focus on one leg at a time, or you can focus on one arm at a time with a press or something like that. So that's also good for working on stability, because in those kinds of movements, since you're only using one limb, you're incorporating more core usage because you're trying to maintain that balance. So those are really, really great to add in. There's so many ways to approach that. It's just, I probably am not even mentioning them all.
What's
But you can
neat
definitely
though,
get creative.
I wanted to check out your webs or your Facebook page and some of the exercises you've shown people how to do. So how can they see that? That Chelsea.
Are you talking about like on my training page
Yeah.
or on the C Ray Fitness page?
Is that where you post most of the videos of you working out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
those are
on,
great.
yeah, it's on that C Ray Fitness page. So C.RAE space fitness.
There you
So
go.
I post a lot of videos on there like that. So if any of you are interested, definitely check them out. There's a ton of videos on there, and I plan on incorporating a lot more too. I'm trying to get better on my video game. So
You do it. So
thank you.
then how often can elderly work out? How many days a week? How long? Should it be an hour? Should it be 10 minutes? Should it be 2 days, 5 days?
Sure. So that is definitely a very common question. And basically all I can say is it's up to the individual. So you have to consider a lot of things. How often this person has been active in the past. Maybe they're already active, or maybe they've done nothing. Maybe they've just been pretty sedentary. So definitely look at your activity level first. So maybe start out with a couple times per week, like twice a week. Give yourself maybe 2 days recovery in between, kind of see how your body responds.
Mm-hmm.
And then just kind of go from there. Maybe aim for 20 to 30 minutes at first, especially especially resistance training, because you don't want to overdo that at first, because then you'll be sore for days and you'll be like, oh my gosh, why do people do this craziness?
So how many reps, how many sets in the beginning? Do you recommend, how long should your wait time be or your rest time be between them?
Sure. So, this kind of depends too on the person, but starting off, you obviously don't want to start out too intense. So me personally, with a lot of my clients, especially older clients, I'll make them do sometimes even one set of something depending on how difficult it is. But usually on average, we start out with 2 sets, typically between like 8 to 15 reps, somewhere in there. So the main thing is not really the reps or the sets are so much important at first. You want to nail your form more than anything, because, if your form is better, you're getting a greater range of motion doing it correctly. You get more out of it by doing that. So that's the most important. So yeah, maybe start out with a set or 2 of an exercise. Just hit maybe your main muscle groups, maybe do 2 to 3 exercises upper body, 2 to 3 lower body for your first workout, and then just kind of go from there and see how you feel. So maybe the next time you'll be able to add a little more. Maybe that wasn't enough. Just listen to your body, see how you feel, and go from there. But definitely start small, always. You don't want to do a military style workout and then be like out for like a month.
Right. I've seen the jokes where trainers put, somebody through this workout. They couldn't wait to see him that first day. They'd go through a whole workout. And then by the end of the week, they're like, okay, I've had enough. I'm done. So
yeah, they're like, yeah, no more for me. I'm done forever.
our trainers don't work that way.
No, we definitely, you want something that is sustainable and something you can keep up, because this is a lifelong journey. This is not short term. So you definitely want to start out small and just keep building up. And over time, you'll look back and be like, wow, that's where I started.
That's
So
right. Consistency
definitely a
over
realistic
time.
approach. Yes.
All right, so then what are some common misconceptions in the health and fitness industry when it comes to these age groups?
So again, when it comes to working out in general, people always tend to think like, oh, I get this age, like I'm gonna have to stop doing this or stop doing that. Like you hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm gonna have to stop running when I get, a certain age, like 70 or something. That is definitely not true. First of all, there are people that run marathons that are like 90. It's true. It's rare, but you can still do activities you love as you get older. Your age doesn't mean you have to stop doing something. So that's all in your head. Don't believe that. So
Yeah.
basically, if you, like Linda and I have been saying, if you just start this now, attack this now, you're not going to have to worry about giving up something you enjoy. So don't believe that you're too old to weight lift or, you're just too old to do like any kind of sport you might enjoy, something like that. So a misconception is that you're never too old to do basically any form of exercise. Now, your intensity might need to vary a little bit. And who knows, if you used to be a power lifter, you may not be able to lift the weight you used to. That's kind of a given. But just to know that if you just, keep it up, keep up the components in your program that you need to stay healthy, you're not going to have to give it up. So that's a huge misconception. I mean, I've had clients myself. I'll use one for an example. I'll just call him Mr. B. I don't really want to throw his name out there. So he's 68 years old. And when we first started training, he was like, there's a lot that I can't do. My core strength is terrible. There's probably not much I can gain realistically, right? And I was like, no, you're going to gain a lot. So now he's holding a plank. He can hold a plank for 2 minutes now.
Excellent.
Yes, he
Yeah.
went from like 10 to 15 seconds and collapsing to 2 minutes. So I'll have to get you a video of that as well. You won't believe it. So
That would be cool. Yeah.
that just goes to show you when you are in the right kind of program, progressing at a rate that you should be, you'd be surprised at what you're capable of.
Yeah.
So just don't listen to this stuff out there like, oh, you're too old. You're not. That's
Right.
the biggest misconception.
As people get older, there's issues they may have to deal with, heart issues, or
Right.
like you're saying about some joints and stuff. Some people have bad knees or whatever, but there's other
Mhm.
things to do. You can work around them. It doesn't mean you
Exactly.
have to stop exercising. It means you have to come up with more creative ways to do things sometimes.
Exactly. There is always an alternative. So a lot of people have issues with like back squatting, for example. And two, puts a lot of pressure on the spine and the neck and everything. You could do a goblet squat. You could hold a dumbbell on the front of your body and squat like that. I mean, there's so many different ways to perform exercises and still get a lot out of it too.
Yeah.
So that's a good point that Linda brings up. Like, there's always a way. And that's where we, like, as trainers, we have to get really creative with a lot of people because a lot of people can't do certain movements other people can do. So it becomes a puzzle. It's kind of fun.
It can be very challenging. So then the wheels get turning. Sometimes
Yes.
the trainer will go, "When do you sit up all night and come up with this stuff, or what?"
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
try
it's
to.
just when you have so many different situations thrown at you, you just get really good at it. So yeah, there's always a way, guys. And once you get good at that new way, maybe that other alternative that you had to try, then maybe you can try the other way you couldn't do before. So
As you
the
build up.
options are limitless, honestly. So
Yep.
you can always do something.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything
Um,
we didn't cover?
Nothing in particular, unless you have any questions you want to throw at me, or if anybody has any questions.
I don't know. I think with the technical difficulties, I don't have any way of seeing, but
No.
in the end, it'll be posted and people can still write stuff in and we can respond later and we'll respond directly to people if they come up with questions.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be really cool.
yeah. So, one thing I did want to do is tell everybody about our new podcast, which is called Muscle Mind. And you can see that at musclemindpodcast.com. So we're going to be having all kinds of neat topics brought up about health and wellness and all that kind of stuff. But excited about that getting started. So make sure you go to musclemindpodcast.com and check that out. Check out Chelsea's Facebook page. Check out HomeFit's website. It's homefitconsulting.com. You can look over all our trainers there, see if any, might specialize in something you think you need help with. We will pair you up with the best trainer possible. And yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
You hear me now?
I can.
Wow, we do hear you.
Well, no, just now realized, why am I not using my phone? So it hit me all of a sudden. But anyway, thanks to everybody that jumped on. Sorry for the delay. Chelsea, thank you for everything that you do for us, for your followers. We always love the things that you post, the way that you genuinely care about the people that you work with and that you treat. And so we're just blessed to be surrounded by so many amazing trainers and instructors. And anyway, I shouldn't have jumped on, so I'm a rambler. But anyway, anything
Yeah, if
else?
Cody and I were talking, it would have gone on for like 45.
It worked out well.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank y'all so much. And yeah, anything else you want to throw in?
No, I mean, unless you have any questions for me or just anything you can think of, throw it at me, even if it doesn't really have to do with this.
Yeah. Nope. I think we're good. I think we're right on the kind of getting close to 30-minute mark. So, but please, anybody that's watching this later, if you think of questions, add them to the comments. We'll do the best that we can to get back, answer those. We always want these videos to be, kind of ongoing, not just always just in the moment live, but how we can kind of come back to it, use it as a resource. And that's really what we always want to be for you as well, is not just to work with you directly in person, but be kind of that support system, give you fresh content, help you with everything that you're trying to do. So, all right. Well, I guess awesome. All right. Well, I guess that's all. Thank you, Linda, for being a trooper, jumping in and making this work as always.
Yes, you saved us, Linda.
The glue that holds it together. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank
I'm a
you.
little.
You're good. All right. Thank you. I'll see you very soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.